Hey guys, hope you're keeping well. Welcome to this live stream here on Christmas Day. I hope you guys are keeping well. Hope your family's keeping well. You guys are keeping well. And I'm wishing you a Merry Christmas and congratulating you getting through to 2025. So on this stream, you're just going to be hanging out with me. And I'm just going to be trying to find some interesting stuff to go through with you guys. Now, this is just a song I used to listen to. I have made a little playlist of these songs. Yeah, cool visuals. Hey, it makes me think. It's amazing how many memories can flow through our mind and how those memories are structured by electrochemicals in our brain, which are getting to have certain experiences and feelings associated with memories. And we go through all these different shades of emotionally interpreting the world, internally and externally. Internally, we've got worlds of imagination within inside of us that inhibit or release certain emotions and feelings inside of us. It's interesting to see that actually contributes to the brain's development. Which is why studies like color therapy tend to work. It's quite incredible to think that civilization has come this far to be able to do this right now online. Podcast, video, music. Like we could have appeared anywhere in civilization's timeline for the past 6,000 years of human civilization. But lucky for us, we landed up in the modern era, just being born into this world. And I'll tell you one thing about life, my friends, is that it's a big mystery. It's a huge mystery. And some people may not ponder it, sometimes I happen to. Just to understand the profound nature and level of reality. Good Lord. Haven't got any viewers right now, but I'm guessing people are busy and maybe streaming at the wrong time, but I'm going to continue anyway. So, I think life's one massive mystery. Huge mystery. Everything about human civilization that I found out, used to be discovered, to this day remains a mystery. So many mysteries, bro. I mean, life is one big mystery. It depends what you believe in, depends how you look at it. But the fact that we are these multi-cellular organisms able to exist in this reality that poses more questions than answers is really profound. It's a huge, massive mystery. We look at reality that way. Like our existence is a mystery. And I can't help but feel that sometimes, sometimes it actually dawns over me, that realization. As I said to people, I don't actually want to think about that. But, to be honest with you, whenever I think about talking about something, it's generally what comes to mind. wow, this reality we have. The fact that it's one big giant mystery. I mean, even, mystery of life after death. As you know, these are some of the things I've been wondering about for quite a while now. And I can't help but continue to think that it's just one big massive mystery. There's so many factors that breaks down into the fact that we live on Earth, culture that use, stories that play out here on Earth. Like for instance, sorry, just give me a second, I'm out. For instance, let's go with this one. Yeah, so life to me is one big massive mystery, man, and I'm just trying to do my best in this life I've been given since we've been given life, which is quite a mystery. I mean, the fact that we have life at all is quite a big mystery. And there's so many more mysteries, Like I've been dreaming lately. Some of my dreams, I have the most unbelievably creative dreams that you just wonder how does your mind create such unique settings that you've never seen before, thought of. And last night I actually had a dream where sometimes I fly in my dreams, lucky enough. And last time I had a dream where I was with a whole bunch of people and then I just started flying in the street. Met all these people, and then I came down and landed and spoke to one of the guys who I was speaking to before I just stopped flying. And I was like, I said in the dream, do this, then life after death must exist. That's just what I remember saying in the dream, which is random. But it made me think like, my mind has this ability to create this reality experience, even a sensory experience sometimes with the dreams. What more is there that binds towards the human mind and potential spirits and soul? And that for me, that's really important. These are really big, important things that I can't help but be curious about and really depict what's happening here on Earth. Oh, you can't hear me? Yeah. How you doing, Secretary? Is that you did? You should definitely join me on the street with you, brother. Can you hear me, man? If you can't hear me, that's not good at all. That means throughout all of that, everything I said. Oh, so it's working now? You gotta be kidding me, man. So the audio was a bit spotty before with the music. Now I can hear you loud and clear. Okay, that's terrible, guys. Unfortunately, for some reason, I can't play music on here. It's really bad. I'm gonna try it another way by presenting it through the full screen. And Secretary, you can just tell me if you can still hear me. But let's try stop screen, create a screen. And let's see if we can get audio now. Oh, shit. So happy Christmas, Merry Christmas. That's what I was trying to say if you couldn't hear me before. I was saying Merry Christmas. And I hope you had a good day. Hopefully with some of your loved ones. I had a small, quiet Christmas with my family, my mom, my dad, my brother, my sister. And it was really nice to just have a moment like that with family as one of the memories that you end up having throughout life. Okay, let's see what's actually happening here. Is this working now? Okay, tell me if this works now, because that's really lame if I can't play music. So tell me now, I'm playing the music. Can you hear me? With my voice? Spot. Thank you, Secretary. Thank you, brother. God bless you, your family with peace and joy and prosperity. Thank you very much for such an amazing, lovely blessing. Oh, it's my fault. Okay, too bad. I can't actually do that. That's terrible. That sucks, but oh well. So anyway, I'm gonna have to do it through another streaming software if I want to be able to do that in the future. But for some reason on this platform, it just doesn't work. Anyway, thanks a lot for that wish, man. I really do appreciate that. It's quite a bummer that I can't actually play any music in the background without my voice becoming muffled. That's really terrible. I think it's because it's coming from the same system. But yeah, as I was saying before, so many errors, man. I just started the live stream with the video, and I'm just finding out it's all muffled, but it's okay. I'll just have to continue, and hopefully this doesn't upset people too much. And it's quite a shame and a bummer, man, that I can't actually play any audio. That sucks. This is this website I've been going on for years. When I started becoming spiritually curious, found this website called Conscious Life News. And I always used to go on it to see some interesting articles that you wouldn't generally see on some other places, you know. And this is when I started learning the difference between independent news media and mainstream media. But yeah, it's quite an interesting website, I guess. Apparently, Julian Assange is free, the guy behind WikiLeaks. And that's quite incredible because apparently you're stuck in that small embassy building for a couple of years, being able to preserve his freedom. But now he's apparently free after being in there for quite a few years. And, this is the leaked videos of international military war crimes involving United States of America. Let's check what we got here. Well, so he's actually free. That's great to see. Yeah, he just looks like he hasn't been out in quite a while, to be honest with you. It looks like quite a surreal experience for him. I wonder if that's his lawyer or his wife or someone. Actually, I don't think he has a wife. It's quite amazing to see how happy this is making everyone. I mean, it's quite incredible, actually. This is a guy that's reported being in jail for quite a while for leaking a whole lot of documents about U.S. war crimes. And finally, he's managed to actually walk away with his freedom. So that's that, eh? Well done, Julian Assange. But yeah, finally free. What else we got here? I don't want to actually get into this over here, since YouTube's still quite sensitive. But there's a whole lot of stuff I'd like to speak about this, but I can't do it on here. So I'll have to just try to do it on my Patreon. By the way, thanks to everyone on my Patreon for supporting this live stream. I'm sorry this video started off really rough and rocky, but thankfully we're getting it going now. And I'm actually managing to produce some content for you guys. Apparently, a university study determines that fire did not bring down the World Trade Center. That's just an interesting report. You never know with these things. You know, we live in a world with so many beliefs and a lot of conspiracies, you know, and some of those conspiracies are true and a lot of those conspiracies are not true. It actually blows my mind how many conspiracies there are. Because some of them are pretty mind-blowing, crazy conspiracies, you know, like lizard people under the ground and stuff. But some conspiracies end up turning out to be true. So the US is drowning in debt, the nation is sinking. This is a trend that's happening all over the world, as well as China. I was watching some documentaries recently saying that like 800 million Chinese people out of 1.4 billion Chinese people are in debt. And 500 million of those, or 450 million of those, is like unresolvable debt. So after 2020, there's a huge unforeseen circumstance, and well, China, a place that works like in perfect clockwork, seems to have completely upset the apple cart, and it's really hitting the Chinese economy pretty hard. By the way, thanks to everyone who's on my Patreon. I really do appreciate that. Your work helps me do my work, you know, creating applications and stuff, which I'm currently doing now. So all your support goes towards me being able to make more YouTube videos and basically keep producing this application that I'm currently producing right now, which is a lot of work for a solo developer, but I can't really show you too much of that right now. Anyway, let's get back to this. So what did I want to show you guys? Yeah, let's go. Yeah. So yeah, I wanted to show you. So China's doing really, really badly with the economy and stuff. A lot of people are complaining, and it's a trend I also see happening in America. But the Chinese seem to be being hit by it quite hard, you know. Like I don't know how to actually find it, but it's like Chinese debt basically is like through the roof. Like that's almost all of their population that's in debt, you know. It's probably because the banks and everything work so well, and the culture has caused like a lot of people to actually take out loans from the bank. I mean, 800 million people taking out loans is quite crazy, you know, whether it's a mortgage, whether it's a loan. That's a lot of people, you know, for a 1.4 billion population. Okay. And 400 or to 500 million of those people having unresolvable debts, which they can't pay back. So, you know, I've been seeing these videos, and it's an interesting trend I see taking place in China and the USA. Beijing's economic freefall, families starving, cities rioting. Will China fall into military rule? These are videos like this that have been coming out recently. So it's interesting to see how 2020 is affecting a world economy like that. You know,
China
especially
fall into
Chinese.
military rule? Chinese auto companies make major layoffs. Unemployed workers struggle to find jobs. Country Garden acquires land for over 100 million yuan, causing uproar. Government uses land to offset debt. Bad loans surge. China's real estate market witnesses surprising scene. Secret police stations spread globally. Chinese agent pleads guilty in the US. Welcome to Decoding China, your go-to source for vital news and deep insights. societal and political shifts. A viral social media post has captured the dire reality faced by many families in Beijing. One user shared, "Our entire family is unemployed, surviving on just 100 yuan a month, about $14. I lost my job during the first month of pregnancy. My younger brother, a construction worker, was laid off in October. My husband, an architectural designer, lost his job in November."
Yeah, so this is a really big trend in China. This is a really, really big trend in China. Uh, that was June, brother. When is this from? Oh, that was June. Wow, how's that? That happened in June, man. That's crazy, dude. I just saw the news article and thought it happened now. But either way, I didn't know that. So it's good to see that he was actually free. He's been free a lot longer than I thought. That was actually new news to me, to be honest with you. Um,
My sister, a CFO, became unemployed when her company went bankrupt, also in November. And my brother in law, a programmer, was let go in December. We're all living on my parents' pension of 100 yuan a month. With the new year around the corner, we're just staring at each other in despair, trying not to lose our minds. We're barely holding on. If Beijing is this bad, other cities must be even worse. On social media, people have listed what they call the four great mysteries of.
I mean, that's Beijing. That's like one of the business capitals of China. And the economy has been so heavily disrupted that this is a common trend taking place now. People reporting stories like this throughout China. I mean, I just told you how much of these Chinese people are actually in debt. So it's interesting to see this as a marker to show you how 2020 is affecting the world up until now. And it's really hit China quite hard, eh?
Modern society, each reflecting a broken economy and flawed policies under the Chinese Communist Party. How can someone unemployed at 35 survive until the retirement age of 65? How can families have 3 children when they can't even afford one? How can consumption be boosted without raising incomes? How can grain production increase with alternating droughts and floods? And yet, the worst may still be ahead. Trump hasn't even taken office yet. Professor Xie Tian of the University of South Carolina predicts that China's economy will continue its downward spiral. He said, "I believe China's economy will keep declining due to political darkness. It hasn't even reached the bottom of this economic cycle. This downturn is likely to last until at least 2025 or 2026." Qing Xiaonong, writing for Radio Free Asia, also highlighted the CCP's political challenges, arguing that its policies have ignited a new Cold War with the U.S. Qing warns that Trump's second term will bring a tougher approach to China. Recently, Trump revealed that he had spoken with Xi Jinping, urging China to help broker peace in Ukraine. He also invited Xi to his inauguration, moves described as calculated opening moves in a strategic game of Go. Qing emphasizes that this is not a match between allies but opponents, and the stakes are high. Trade wars are just one piece of this larger chessboard, a game where victory comes only when one side collapses from exhaustion. In the last Cold War, it was the Soviet Union that fell. Amid such bleak economic and political prospects, public discourse is increasingly concerned that the CCP might close its borders, impose military control, or revert to a planned economy. Social unrest is mounting. Large-scale clashes recently erupted in Hezhou, Guangxi. In Tianjin, some
It's crazy because China's got this crazy business sector, you know, and it's quite affluent. So to see so many people get hit like this is, you know, it just shows you that a lot of people are taking loans, a lot of people are in debt, and the marketplace was heavily disrupted, and it was enough of a disruption for so many businesses to have to lay off people. And you know, it's like you're seeing only the effects of 2020 now, you know, and it's just created like a knock-on ripple effect, like dominoes just crashing. It's completely interrupted their financial career environment to actually earn a living in this world, you know, and it's just interesting to be aware of other places, other countries, what it is they're facing, to get an idea of how much life has changed since 2020 and how people's lives are being affected in many big ways. People are having to adapt probably more than ever. I mean, you just heard that lady, her whole family is getting $14 a month, which is crazy. It's crazy scary to think that there's a disruption in a marketplace. All of a sudden, people's jobs and businesses just come crumbling down. And that's what's happening, It's, and maybe, and it's also, it's not only China, it's the US as well. But the China, it's like, it's quite, it's probably happening a little bit more than the US. I mean, as you can see in this video, a lot of people.
Property management offices blocked roads, preventing residents who hadn't paid fees from entering their homes. Gas explosions in Huainan and fires on light rail systems in Dalian are rumored to be deliberate acts of sabotage. Across China, chaos is spreading, and the people are struggling to survive. Some commentators warn that China may be approaching a turning point in which desperate forces are beginning to challenge the government. This rising wave of protests and unrest, they argue, will increase the likelihood of coups or mutinies, bringing the CCP closer to internal collapse. In response, the CCP is ramping up control. In Changsha, a new app now requires people to report gatherings at least 5 days in advance, specifying the reason, number of participants, method, and even the menu. Observe.
Well, how's that? You need to use an app to let the Chinese government know beforehand that a whole lot of people are going to be at an event.
2 years ago. Professor Xie Tian believes the CCP will not fully close its borders, but will retreat further into centralized authoritarian rule. He said, China's trade policy focuses on exporting to generate foreign exchange while restricting imports to maintain a trade surplus. So, the borders will be half closed, prioritizing exports and limiting imports. Domestically, they will use state-owned enterprises to monopolize industries while suppressing private businesses.
I mean, this is capitalism, capitalism is the world you live in. You need a buck to survive, to stay alive, and it's quite sad to see some big disruptions to people's lives, including my own, where people are basically down and out. But there's some more extreme cases like that lady, $14 a week and a whole family. But it just shows you how fickle this capitalist system is and how it's so big and complicated, but just with one big major disruption, it could cause quite a huge disruption and affect a lot of people's lives.
Others worry that the CCP might provoke external conflicts to distract from internal tensions. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken made an unusually bold statement on December 18. China likes to claim Taiwan is an internal affair, but Taiwan is our business. Professor Xie Tian responded, the Biden administration only has about a month left, but Blinken's...
that's China, this is America.
You guys are talking about a potential rate cut. When that happens, that means the country may be on the potential verge of a recession. I know some of you think we're already in a recession. I don't think we're there yet. Some wild time.
Okay, I've actually watched it one. I'm looking for something a little bit more recent as well.
Every Monday when I go check my bank account, I say to myself, it's either going to be in the negatives or it's going to be close to zero. Okay, and neither are great news. So I never really look forward to checking it. So I checked it this morning and I said, oh, wait a minute. Something must not have got taken out because it's actually looking kind of nice in here. Something's up. Okay, I calculate. I said, this is looking right. Okay, I don't know how I feel about this because now I'm traumatized. I'm so used to having $0 in there that when there's a little extra cash, I'm like, what happened? Okay, did I forget to pay something? Did somebody forget to take something out? I don't know. I'm still traumatized. I'm still scared to even go buy myself something sweet right now because if something gets taken out, we won't be in a good spot. Okay, catch me next paycheck. We're going to be stressing. Now, I don't even know if I should. I probably should just let it sit there and just hope for the best. But, the other side of me saying, I deserve this. I deserve to go treat myself to a little coffee, maybe go buy myself some new makeup or something. I don't know. But we'll see. Catch me at the end of the week when those charges probably finally go through and I'm actually really in the negatives.
Those moments where you treat yourself to coffee or something.
This is Emmanuel Cook, we will be reacting to a new video today. So make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe down below, and let's get into the video.
That while therapy is helpful, what most people really need is money. I don't know.
I literally just said this to one of my friends a couple of days ago. I stopped going to therapy. Okay. I stopped going to therapy and I was like, therapy me down, baby. I was like, oh, we need therapy. We need to sit down and talk about our feelings. But then it hit me one day. No amount of deep breathing, no amount of mindfulness, no amount of nervous system regulation is going to change the fact that the bill collectors are calling. no amount. Because, like, even when I think about my depression, like, right, like, you know, when I get a little money, I feel a little bit better, you know, like, it's like, okay, so it's a circumstantial depression. It's not a clinical depression. Like, I'm not like, it's not to that capacity. Do you know what I mean? Like, a lot of people out here are not just depressed. Like, I am not trying to take away from anybody's depression. I'm not. So take what I say with a grain of salt. But a lot of people are depressed because they are broke. That is why they are depressed. A lot of them are depressed because they are broke. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I think the thing that makes it even more sad, like, my mom passed away. I have her anniversary of her death is coming up in a couple of days. And I've learned, and I'm still learning, to live with that, right? Because that's something that's unchangeable. I can't change the fact that my mom is gone. I can't collect 7 Dragon Balls and bring her back to life. If I could, I would, right? But
that's why you should take care of your family while you can. Look after your family. Because they're so important, dude. Your family is ultra important. Take care of them. She just, the poor lady lost her mom. That hasn't even happened to me. It kind of haunts me. But it reminds me to pay more attention to those that I love, you know, and make the most of the time left with them.
That's just something I have to live with. But like, when it comes like the money is a solvable problem. And a lot of us just don't know how to solve the problem because we haven't figured out how to solve the problem. A lot of us are still buying into this system where it's like, work the 9 to 5, you know, pay into a 401k, give a company 30 plus years of your life, retire before you're 60, well, 67 now.
It's crazy that those are the options on an earth that believes that, you know, in no afterlife, an atheist earth that believes in no afterlife. And they believe that you just die and you cease to exist. Well, if you believe that, why would you? Obviously, work's important. People need to work. Some people need to get jobs. But, I mean, as this lady said, some people are getting office jobs for like 30 years or something. Well, how many years? Crazy, man, the amount of time we spend working, you know? And obviously, people need to do it. They need to support their families. They need to support themselves. So, you know, people need to work. But it's funny that as humans that generally believe that, you know, in no life after death, that we would spend so much of our life doing that. Obviously, not everyone would choose that. They would choose doing something that is not so crazy, like some sort of prison sentence of just working constantly. Like, if you think about it, like, legally speaking, in most countries, you get like 3 weeks of holiday, 4 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks of holiday. Legally, is the amount of weeks you're supposed to get, like 15 days or 20, 25 days. So the rest of that time, people are just spent working, you know? And it's a complicated economic system. Like, as I showed you, China is struggling in many ways just because of the disruption of 2020, of shutting the earth down for like 2 years straight. We're checking and seeing the financial implications of that, you know? So this chick's got a point. She's saying that most people are depressed because they're broke. It's a tough, hard world out there. I'm not going to lie. As I said, some people, just to support their family and themselves, they got to work an office job for like 30 years or whatever. And it's crazy that that in my mind is like what the Matrix is. It's like, if you can get out of that and become independent, do your own thing, and become successful at it and actually generate an income to support yourself and your family, then that's great, you know. But if you have a job you enjoy, that's also amazing to have a good job. Because at the end of the day, you know, we need to be supported. We need to be able to support ourselves and each other, right? So, you know, but it's a tough world out there if we're just honest with ourselves. It's not easy for everyone.
Right? But that's just something I have to live with. But like when it comes like the money is a solvable problem. And a lot of us just don't know how to solve the problem because we haven't figured out how to solve the problem. A lot of us are still buying into this system where it's like work the 9 to 5, you know, pay into a 401k, give a company 30 plus years of your life, retire before you're 60, well, 67 now, and you'll be okay. And that within itself is also depressing. You know, like walking the metaphorical assembly line, giving your hours in for such little return. Most people are depressed because they are broke. And if you could drop $10,000 right now and like half of the world's accounts, if all the world's accounts, I'm not going to sit there and say that it would solve a lot of the problems, but it will definitely ease a lot of the angst that a lot of people are experiencing, myself included.
I wish they put $10,000 in everyone's accounts.
Like, I was sitting with my therapist and I was like, you know, telling her what was going on. And I'm like, you know, man, it just hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, I'm just broke and I need to change that. And me sitting here and talking to this lady about my feelings, as helpful as it is, depending on the circumstance, I am still walking back up to a 3-floor apartment that I'm exhausted of living in. Would love to be able to have my kitchen and my living room be in 2 separate areas. You know, like, grateful for what I have, but craving more. Do you know what I mean? And the craving coming from the fact that your girl needs some more moolah. But a lot of us out here right now are depressed because we need more money. We need more money to pay medical bills, to get groceries in the house, to make sure our kids can get to and from school, to pay for the.
And this is why a lot of people are not having kids now lately. People are staying away from having children in the US and China. Around the world, it's a bit of a trend. It's just in this world of its economic complications, it's just seeming a lot safer for people to not have kids, you know. Maybe they're just not in that position.
The fucking tires we need for our car, to get our nails done. I haven't got my nails done in like years. Like, my birthday came around, didn't get my hair done, didn't get my nails done, bought some outfits and went out the country because I paid for what I could afford. Okay, that's just me. But yeah, I bet you if you could drop a couple of bands in some people's accounts, they'd be singing a whole different tune. Because a lot of people are
She's so right. She's so right.
Substantially depressed. And money is a really big circumstance. It really is.
Riley's falling asleep.
Yeah, she's right, you know. That's why they call it the Great Depression, you know, after a big recession.
Desperate I got over money over my lifetime, yes. But this year it got really bad. Like, it got to the point, I don't even know what selling.
I just think it's interesting to see what's happening around the world and how people are experiencing life after that big life-changing event of 2020 to 2021 to 2022. And it's interesting to see how people are taking it all over the world. But yeah, I mean, it seems like there is a depression recession, guys. What do you expect after shutting down the world for 2 whole days? I mean, 2 whole days, 2 whole years. 2 whole years, it's shut down. And people are starting to feel it now, and it's becoming like a trend, you know, social media trend of seeing people communicate their stories of being in some grisly conditions. You know, these are some of the trends I'm noticing. I'm also noticing the Christian narrative being evolving on online mainstream media. When I say that, I mean, like, you know, like the popular YouTube channels and that sort of thing. Popular streamers, just some famous people speaking about Jesus, speaking about Christ. And people are becoming a lot more vocal about their living conditions, you know. And so we, you know, because of that, I am noticing a trend of people struggling in their own unique and different ways. So, my prayers go out to people out there, hoping that things are good, because, I have noticed it, looking around businesses and people who own businesses. Wait, why is it still recording? Oh, it's actually showing you well. Okay, great. That's good. So I have noticed that businesses are feeling a big slump. Medium enterprises, small enterprises, people's livelihoods have been disrupted. There doesn't seem to be that much cash flow going around lately these days. And a lot of people, we live in a debt-fueled economy, a debt-fueled society. So a lot of people have a lot of debt. And as you've heard, China has a ginormous amount of people who are in debt. This is people speaking about not earning enough to having to be a bit careful with meeting it every month to take care of living expenses. So this is a trend that's taking place. People are becoming a lot more vocal about it becoming harder to actually take care of their living expenses, which is obviously not great to see, but that's the world we live in, man. That's the economy. By the way, are you seeing these screens when I switch to these screens? Because I can't tell, because when I go into the stream window here, it shows me all the screens. So yeah, some businesses are struggling. Less cash flow. People have gone through their savings, if any of them did have savings, just to make it through those 2 years. I don't think it's easy times out there. I think the last 2 years were definitely a bit difficult. But fortunately enough, we've made it into 2025, and I would like to think that things will start panning out from this year. People starting to get themselves back on their feet, getting stuff back together again. And, because after huge global events like that, after the knock-on effects, it takes some time to recalibrate and get things back to normal, if they can get back to normal. But let's have a look over here.
That we're living in and struggling in. I don't know, what the fuck?
I'm very curious. I'm a few years short of 30, but I always wonder, like, how much do people my age frame have in their savings account, like, or their checking account? Because, yeah, I've noticed, like, a lot of times I'll ask people, like, about, like, finances and stuff, and I've learned that a lot of people keep their expenses in their bank account ahead of time. And when they say they don't have extra money, the extra money is coming from, like, me not having extra money outside of the money I need for my bills, or me not having extra money outside of my savings account or stuff like that. But it's crazy because when I say I don't got no fucking money, or when I say I have $300, bitch, I only have $300. Like, literally, it's only $300 in my bank account, savings, everything all together. So, like, yeah, I'm curious, like, how much do the average adult in their 20s, mid 30s, or whatever, actually 20s to 30s? I need to hear about people in my age frame. I don't want to hear about people in their 40s. Y'all already done had y'all time to build y'all career. I'm talking about people that's young, trying to get it, really grinding right now. People my age in their late 20s. How much do y'all have in, like, y'all savings account, if you don't mind me asking?
Disappear from social media and do this instead.
Yeah, if you can have a savings account, that's great. But as I said, a lot of people went through this.
Another grown working adult in 2024 asks why they haven't seen me around lately. I'm just going to look at them. Like my eyes right now are saying, have you met this economy? It's expensive to look out the window. Okay, like, if I'm making the effort, okay, especially, like, after I'm tired from working, if I'm making the effort and willing to, like, sacrifice that gas money to be able to hang out with you, like, consider yourself, like, in the VIP section of my life. Because it's kind of the point where I don't even like making a small talk with people, like, online, because I'm like, fuck, what if they end up, like, wanting to hang out? Or what if I end up wanting to hang out? And it's going to be a whole thing. Like, it's going to be, yeah. I'm just trying to make myself feel better because I feel like a bad friend because I really don't see anybody now. And it's like, it's not you guys, it's that I'm poor.
That's also a big trend I see. There's a loneliness epidemic. It's just a lot of things have changed. Society has changed in some weird and wonderful ways. But people are. It's just interesting to see how life changes, you know. The fact that we're able to go online and stuff and actually get an idea of how people are living life on other ends of the world and how they're dealing with this. But like, here we go. The loneliness epidemic is actually a thing. The rise of male loneliness. Male loneliness, it's getting worse. A U.S. Surgeon General declares loneliness epidemic. Like, these are new things, you know. This isn't pre-2020, you know. These are new trends. Right, let's have a look at this. Like, these are new trends, you know. After
Mental Health
2020.
Awareness Month, and U.S. Surgeon General Dr. Vivek Murthy has issued a new advisory on loneliness as a health issue. In the report, Dr. Murthy warns that loneliness poses a health risk just as deadly as smoking. He calls it an epidemic. He spoke about it today on GMA3.
This is a problem that has been building for decades. COVID certainly worsened it. It poured fuel on the fire, but that fire was burning before. And as the world has moved faster and faster, as things have changed so much, as we now move around a lot, we change jobs a lot, how we communicate with one another has changed and often shifted from in-person to online. A lot of that together has actually taken a toll on our relationships. And now we're realizing that we've got to be intentional about rebuilding those relationships because they have a profound effect both on our mental health and our physical health.
That's the Surgeon General talking about loneliness. And to discuss this further, let's bring in clinical.
As you said, loneliness can kill you. It has an effect on your physical health. Can you believe it?
Clinical psychologist Dr. Jeff Gardier. Doctor, this advisory comes on the heels of a New York Times op-ed written by the Surgeon General, and it was titled, "We Have Become a Lonely Nation. It's Time to Fix That." You know, I'm just stumped. Why? You know, what's your take on this, and what's your biggest concern about it? I didn't think America was a fragmented, fractured, lonely country. People were, you know, in all kinds of groups. We were famous as a nation of joiners, and now it seems we're staying alone. What's going on?
So, Terry, as you alluded to earlier, and as Dr. Murthy had talked about, really the pandemic has lifted the curtain on many of our social ills. And one of those ills was the fact because of social media, because of the internet, we were certainly becoming a society that was very much insulated, focusing just on ourselves. Many of our activities were online, and we were starting to lose.
I mean, that's incredible. With the introduction of social media and network interconnectivity, loneliness has been surging. I don't know if it's people like going online and seeing lives. I don't know what it is, man, but obviously the internet and social media has changed the world and people's minds in so many ways, you know? So it's interesting to see that technology that's supposed to be connecting people is actually creating these loneliness or contributing towards the culture behind these loneliness epidemics. Like, it's just crazy to think there's so many people on Earth, and now more than ever, there's so many ways to connect with those people. And people just aren't doing that, you know? They're not managed. It's not like technology is actually helping people connect with each other on a physical, interpersonal level. And that's the strangeness of it all. It's actually like having the opposite effect. So if anyone could create a social media application that manages to connect people that are around them, you know, it doesn't help having these online relationships all the time. You know, it's really great to meet people from all over the world. But at the same time, you need to be able to see some people, you know, that you're friends with. and meeting people in your area would help. But social media doesn't seem to be solving that right now, as this loneliness epidemic is becoming more of an actual thing. It's
That
actually being
human
spoken about in the news.
connection. Now we find that with the pandemic, since we were even more isolated, that loneliness has become an after effect of the COVID-19 pandemic. And now loneliness is an
So I'm really glad he's gone ahead and said that, because that is the truth. That is an after effect of the pandemic. It is indeed an after effect. You know, we're checking the financial recession, global financial recession, heavily affecting people's lives with all this inflation, job losses, business closures, and just less cash flow going around from people's hands to people's hands, especially to support small business. And what we happen to see as well as that the pandemic has affected the culture's socialization capability. People just are not socializing much anymore. What is it? But whatever it is, it seems to have definitely been contributed to by the pandemic. And social distancing, staying away from people being able to make you sick, all the political and ideological divides, dividing people in so many different ways. You know, there's so many things that happened on a cultural, microcosmic, and macrocosmic level that's affected people in this current generations that are alive and have gone through that time on a psychological level, you know, to the point where, for whatever reason, people are actually socializing less. Interesting to see, hey, how we've been programmed to social distance and stay away from each other. And if someone can make you sick to doing that for 2 years, and I guess it was a huge existential crisis for everyone. It must have been. I mean, how could it not be? The world's been shut down for 2 years. How can that cause nobody to stop and pause and wonder about the meaning or deep aspects of their life, you know? Or, you know, the juxtaposition of life and death, you know, the realization of life and death, which I think that this whole experience that we've gone through has happened to drill into people's mind, which is the prospect of death being a reality was pushed into everyone's mind, right? Because that was the whole thing. It was people's health was at stake, and they needed to do X, Y, and Z in order to protect their health. Otherwise, they may pass on, and many people had lost people, and so forth and so on. So one way or another, subconsciously and consciously, people were faced with the prospect of death, which surely has contributed towards this mass freaking I don't want to say this mass change that's happened in people. I don't want to say mass awakening because it's not really like an awakening. Well, it is an awakening, I guess, because people are becoming more aware and confronting all of these issues that are being presented towards them, you know, whether subconsciously or consciously. You know, how can that not cause a global, widespread period of humans going through existential crises? You know, surely that's what that causes. Surely that's what that causes, you know? Surely the whole world has gone through somewhat of an existential crisis because the very question of our livelihoods, our life, you know, and our families' lives and everyone's lives and had been disrupted and put into question. And so on one level or another, how can that not cause people to go through tons of introspection potentially? And I don't know, I just feel the whole thing's just changed everybody, including myself. I feel changed after this whole experience, you know? And I feel like things are different. As you can see, there's a loneliness epidemic. People are the culture's changed. It's so many people, so much technology, so many social networks, so much potential for networking, yet so much loneliness. And it would be great if the life we lived on Earth wasn't so frigid and dependent on people all being in work and working more than enjoying life. But I guess that's how capitalism and life here on Earth works. You need to get money to support and survive and take care of yourself, unless you're like completely living off the grid. And everyone's life's affected by that. You make friends in high school, and then everyone starts studying, and then everyone starts working, and you start seeing people less because you got to be out and do stuff. But that's just the way things are. I wish personally that there was more opportunities for socialization. So, with this application I'm building, I'm going to focus on that, which is how to get people to actually socialize with people in near surrounding environments. Like in your local area, being able to connect with people and actually use technology to solve these weird things that shouldn't be happening, which has increased a loneliness epidemic after a health epidemic itself. So yeah, it's interesting to go through changes like this on Earth on a huge level and get through them and be changed because of them. Because it's a life-changing event that we all went through. So I can't imagine people not going through some level of increased introspection or an existential moment in their life. And a lot of people I've spoken to had actually in the last 4 years have been on crazy journeys and experiences that in many cases have been quite difficult. So it's interesting to see life on Earth get changed because of that. It's interesting to see people's lives get changed, including my own, and to see how culture and life changes in general and what are the new sort of problems we experience since such a global event like that. And some people may not want to speak about it, but it is part of the reality we're living in today, guys. Like at the end of the day, let's see, not knowing we are the sense of the universe makes people feel very insignificant and far away from God. Then they isolate and feel alone. Yeah, that is absolutely true. I do believe an idea of a infinite universe can dwarf us, our meaning and perspective, and the fact that we only live in such a small sliver of time here on Earth for quite a short period of time comparatively compared to how old things seem to be. We're not here for a long time, we're here for a good time. But I can totally see that, not knowing or feeling that we're the center of the universe can make people feel very insignificant and far away from God. And then they isolate and feel alone. I agree with that completely. Totally agree with that. And I definitely relate to that. I'm in a period in my life where I would love to be around more people, but I have to do work to get this application done so that one day I can actually be around people. It is good to experience socialization. It's pretty healthy as well. We are social creatures. So when we can, we should be taking the opportunities to socialize,
Epidemic of its own. We're seeing.
But obviously, this is the problem across the world that people are facing. Loneliness epidemic. So this is modern reality. This is the complications of modern reality. And I can't even tell you what pre-reality was like because I've only been alive since 1991. But I can tell you that life in the last 33 years that I've been alive has changed quite drastically. Like things definitely feel a bit more slowed down and sluggish and a little bit darker and denser as opposed to when I was growing up. I definitely have noticed a big change in the last 30 years of how I at least experienced life here on Earth. The vibe is different. But, and things change. I mean, look, in the last 4 years, there's pretty much an economic recession, man, and crisis happening, I would say. That's beginning to be reported on. But as well as that, there's these weird cultural changes of things like loneliness epidemics to the point that it's actually all over the news. Like global loneliness is actually a problem. And it seems to have been triggered by 2020. So what else, man, can we see? Why we're not living in a simulation? Oh, I'd love to give you a million reasons why I would love to not deduce that I'm just some figment of some computer machine synthetic life. There's nothing that feels synthetic about this life, you know. This life feels pretty real. This life feels pretty real, feels pretty organic, man. You know, I'm not believing I'm living in a synthetic, simulated environment. This is real consciousness, real biology, real life. So yeah, there's a lot of people reporting on this topic. My heart goes out to all these people. I know what it's like. Spend a lot. Fortunately, that's where family comes in hand. If you can spend time with your family, that's really good. It can help beat loneliness. But America has a loneliness crisis and an economic crisis, and so does the rest of the world. You know, there's only so long I can keep reporting on the male loneliness epidemic. Let's actually just have a look what this lady has to say. Let's just have a little look over here. So this is this guy, Stefan Mateus. He's got an interesting story. I was listening to some of it. I don't really believe in reincarnation, but some people really seem to believe in it and have a lot of stories regarding it. So I do just tend to entertain it sometimes, just to listen. I feel like, as I said, some conspiracies are true, some conspiracies are not true, and I feel like some conspiracies are definitely made up, and some actually are true, you know. But what blows my mind is people that would like lie about stuff, you know, would go as far as to lie, to come out and make these claims. I'm not saying this guy's lying. I have no idea who this guy is. But I mean, like some people like Bashar and etc. You know, Bashar claims to be channeling an alien entity, you know. It just blows my mind. I don't personally believe it, you know. But I find it quite interesting to see that someone is presenting themselves as channeling some alien being. And people are believing it, making a whole entire living off of it. But yeah, I mean, this is kind of a boring topic. I'm not going to lie to you, the male loneliness epidemic, but it's an actual reality. And what I'm noticing as well is a rise of feminism, which I'm not saying is either good or bad, but misandry does exist, which is the hatred of men, and misogyny exists definitely, which is the hatred of women, or disrespect of women. But I'm noticing the battle of the sexes also take place, you know. So not only are people in financial troubles, not only is there a loneliness problem, but there's also an increased battle of the sexes. There's a lot more people staying single now and staying away from having children. That's also one of the big trends that have taken place since this pandemic. Is people are lonely and are this and that and that and this, you know. So what should this say?
I regret to inform you the men are not okay. That's right, folks. The men are not okay. The men have no friends, no girlfriend, no college education, no money, are breaking their legs and inserting metal rods into their bones to be a few inches taller, and listening to AI Batman help them overcome their pornography addictions.
You deserve real love.
Turns out the society that was built by and allegedly for men has indeed let them down. Now you might be thinking, oh look, another boo-hoo poor men video by Shoe on Head. Yes. And if you have a problem with that, tune into literally anything else. Men are in a crisis, and it seems nobody really cares. And the people who do care just seem like the people who want to sell them shit. Not me. I'm different. So before we get into this, let's quickly get into today's sponsor. Today's sponsor is Holzkern. Holzkern is a young Austrian company that designs unique crafted watches and jewelry made from all natural materials. Their high-quality timepieces come in various designs for both men and women, making them the perfect gift for any occasion. They're a great blend of function and fashion, and overall I just think they look very classy, especially the men's watch collection. I was pretty impressed with the silver casing and blue marble dial of the Naturalist watch, which made for a great gift for my boyfriend. He especially loved the casual yet stylish appearance, making it an ideal choice to wear both at work and at home. I'm also really happy with the watch I picked out. It's made from black and white marble and features a nice black leather bracelet that just feels so comfy. They also create elegantly crafted earrings, very unique handbags, sunglasses, and necklaces, like this rose marble elevation necklace. It makes a really memorable and unique gift for a loved one. All of their products have a 24-month warranty, and ordering online is super easy with free shipping to the US and most EU countries within 2 to 5 days. So if you want to get yourself a good quality watch and support the channel, I highly recommend checking out their store and clicking the link in the description below. Use my special code SHOE15 at checkout that will give you 15% off for all products store-wide. So go to the link down below and choose your own unique piece of nature. Thank you, Holzkern, for sponsoring this video, and thank you, the viewer, as always, for not skipping the ad.
Why are men and boys struggling? And what should we do about it?
A few new studies have come out that have shown that young men are more lonely and single than ever before. But it's not just men. The women and children, too. It's predicted 45% of women will be single and childless by 2030. But according to the media, this is a good thing. The she-economy is booming, as they say. And meanwhile, men being single is treated like this.
New study explains why some single men are having a hard time finding a new partner.
Some of the music that they listen to speaks very derogatory.
Right. Yeah, man, stop listening to that derogatory music. Then maybe you won't be single. I don't know, I think men and women being single and lonely kind of shows there might be something wrong with society. Perhaps we should address this, not just wave it off as empowering or pathetic. According to several different articles, I love how that's my source, I read about it on the internet, research shows that people from individualist countries show a greater sense of loneliness. This is linked to socioeconomic development, increased education, a shift towards white-collar jobs, and urbanization. Japan also has an issue with loneliness. In fact, they have a whole movement of people they call the hikikomori. Did I say that right? I don't care. Basically, postmodern.
It's Sulphur's month end.
I am not broke. I must have missed that one.
Young men who completely withdraw from society, secluding themselves in their rooms for months and years at a time. In 2010, there was an estimated 700,000 hikikomori in Japan. And today, it's estimated to be about 1.55 million. And because of things like this, people aren't having babies, so Japan's population has been in a sharp decline since 2011. It's gotten so bad that Japan even produces videos of live-action women staring into the camera to help the hikikomori learn to cope with eye contact and reintegrate them back into society.
That's crazy. They have to put videos of people in order to reintroduce them to making eye contact.
So basically, if you want to know America's future, look no further than Japan. A lot of people, including myself, blame this partially on the rise of social media and technology. RIP to the king. Although technology makes things easier, it can also make us more atomized. Why go to the mall when I can just tap, 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 buy a new microphone, and have it shipped to me in a day? Why hang out with friends when I can get all my social interaction I need from Twitter and streamers? Why go on dates and bother meeting women when I can just tap, 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 Google big boob and get 2 million results? Or see my high school crush's holes on OnlyFans for only $5. Instant dopamine, instant satisfaction, and hey, who even needs a real woman when you could just have an AI girlfriend? We're so f***ed. Dating apps really are the great Satan, and I'm convinced they've completely broken men's brains. Women on dating apps are picky. Women in general are picky, and I mean, naturally we are pickier. You know, we're the ones who carry the babies, at least for now. But on dating apps, you have to admit, it's a little insane. It's safe to say that the commodification of love and the window shopping of dating apps probably has to do a lot with the rise of lonely single men. Men are not just lonely when it comes to dating, they're lonely when it comes to friendship too. According to Vox, Americans are currently in a friendship recession, and men are being hit the hardest. The percentage of men who reported having at least 6 close friendships fell in half since the 90s. 1 in 5 men say they have no close friendships. Looking at all these statistics, the explosion of figures like Andrew Tate is not surprising at all.
I believe being a man is a blessing because it starts so difficult. I believe that every man is born without any value at all. I think that the world's never going to think you're important unless you make yourself important.
And recently, a new study came out about how young men are moving towards the right. And every other month, we, the liberal, sockdem, leftist, whatever you want to call the space online, performs the same song and dance. What's wrong with men? Why is this happening? Why don't we have a leftist Andrew Tate? We need to push men to the left. Andrew Tate rarely, if ever, talks about politics. Andrew Tate talks about men, and the left only talks about men when they talk about Andrew Tate. A few months ago, during one of the monthly song and dances, some progressive people I follow made the mistake of addressing men's issues, and the even bigger mistake of pointing their finger at their own spaces for not doing enough to address said men's issues.
Recently, there were some statistics by healthcare company Cigna indicating that men are the loneliest generation. And addressing it doesn't mean that you turn your back on issues pertaining to women, but it does mean that we should be focused on what it is in society that is leading to this epidemic, what the left can do to offer solutions, and how we can basically fight back against the more nefarious figures who have filled the void that men are struggling with, people like Jordan Peterson and what have you. Now, recently, Vosh, who's a popular streamer, had tweeted this thread that I think is really, really important to address. He writes, "I cannot stress enough how important it is to understand that 12-year-old white boys on Twitch are not being pulled into fascism because of some Machiavellian desire to preserve and expand their privileges. It's because the right talks to them and the left doesn't."
The responses to these tweets and this content were very normal, level-headed, and respectful. Me when I lie. LMAO, cry about it. Boo f***ing who? Oh no, poor widow men having problems. Boo f***ing who? Grow the f*** up then. Have men considered being smarter? I'm enjoying all these sad little moids and their sad little tweets about their sad, pathetic lives. Sounds like a personal problem. Is the lack of compassion for men in the room with us right now? Maybe men are just not good people then. I'm so fucking tired of people trying to make male loneliness a huge societal problem. Yeah, no, they're fifi.
It's amazing how political and divided people can become on issues like this. And how nasty they can get.
These are not my responsibility, and I shouldn't have to be punished because they can't get their shit together as human beings. Grow the f*** up. Why are we trying to win these entitled little predators over? The left isn't for them. That's why they go right in the first place. We're all lonely and alienated. It's young men going to the alt-right in droves. The problem isn't our messaging, it's them. It's literally not our problem.
Like you're either left or right, you know? Leftists or rightists, it's just crazy, man. How we, us as humans have created all these things and these boxes that we define ourselves and others in. And it's just crazy, man. The left and the right, like, really? Why is everything got to be so political? Why does everyone have to be put on a political spectrum?
Men flock to Andrew Tate not because they're lonely, but because they're bigots. Hope this helps. Nah, it's just misogynists being louder than before and not getting laid. LOL. Cry harder, losers. 90% of all homicides recorded worldwide were committed by male perpetrators. We should just get rid of all males, to be honest. This includes trans women, as they still retain male violence. By the way, you know the Tumblr feminists who were like, all men are sexist and rapists, male tears, penises are evil, blah, 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 back in the day? Well, this is them now. Should have just let me cook back then. Listen up, chuckle. I'm white, socially awkward, autistic, in my 40s, ugly, overweight, crippled, got a weird balding pattern, and have bad skin. You know what I didn't do? Choose to become a fascist, because I recognize most of the sort that look like me are the problem. I may be hideously ugly and pathetic, but at least I'm not a fascist. Thank you for your input, buddy. You're, really helping the situation. The reason young men flock to alt-right MRA movements is because the left gives brain-dead advice to young men. We need to be more compassionate to them, for our own.
Like, everyone is on the spectrum. Everyone who talks online, who's an influence online, is like on a spectrum, and then their audience is like part of that spectrum. It's like crazy. Why does everything have to be so political? Why does everything have to be so politicized? You know, that's the frame of reference we look at the world through politics. It's kind of crazy and ridiculous, to be honest with you. And it's a weird cultural thing. I don't even think about that. I barely think about politics. You know, I just see news that comes by every now and again. And, but politics, man, I'm so turned off on politics. I couldn't care less. I couldn't give a damn. But it doesn't matter where you look, man. Everything's politicized. Even if you're not into politics and you try to stay away from it, like watch a simple little video like this and look at the language being used. All ideas are either on the left or right spectrum, you know.
Say, I'm sorry, but how is respect women brain dead advice? What advice? Don't rape? Don't be a rapist is bad advice? Help, I have no friends or community. I feel suicidal. Have you considered not raping? Act like a decent fucking human being. It's not hard. Is brain dead advice? Brain dead advice like get consent and don't be a Nazi and women are people. Walking up to men struggling with loneliness and depression like, kids, don't be racist. Incredible. Here's my actual advice I would give to my teen boys as a leftist. 1. Always get enthusiastic consent of women's rights. And I'll say this.
Oh, man, that's social media for you guys. That's the internet for you. I mean, check this out, man. I don't know what my algorithm's doing for me, but it's not really helping or supporting me in a good way. I mean, when you look through all this content that's being produced, I mean, obviously I need more videos like this. This is a paralyzed guy, always gives such great advice. Title this one, How Jesus Resisted Temptation and How You Can Too. Jamie Carrington.
I'm
Yeah, this is
literally on a cliff right now. I'm a few inches away from...
I'm gonna follow this guy, Jamie Carrington. Really positive guy. He's Christian. So he gives Christian advice, but it's really amazing to hear from someone's perspective like this who manages to stay so upbeat and chipper despite the problems he's facing.
From rolling down like an avalanche. Today we're talking about temptation, specifically how...
So check that guy out. He's a pretty positive guy to watch. But, you know, I wish there was more content like this. A lot of it's pretty negative, you know. I'm not enjoying social media at all lately. Like, even TikTok, it's just mind-rotting content. And that's why I'm producing my own app, which is proving to be extremely difficult, but at least there's progress being made. It's just so unbelievably difficult to program an application. It's crazy. But as you see here, Chinese scramble for leftovers. UN plummets into worthless paper. You know, it's just the videos are just like dark and grim, you know. Of course, there is some good channels and stuff. I think it's just my newsfeed that's giving me weird ass content. It sometimes just feels like looking at the world through the lens of social media and these YouTube videos. If you're not careful, can give you a pretty warped, messed up view of reality, you know? Like a lot of these channels of these people who have really negative perspectives of reality, you know? But it's just interesting to go through a news feed like this and just be like, it just doesn't look that positive. I don't know if it's just my algorithm or whatever, but it just gives you an idea of like what sort of content people are absorbing out there these days. And what's the vibe that's being projected, across the world. But I definitely see a Great Depression. The whole family's unemployed. The Great Depression is coming. Beijing, Shanghai also finished. Yeah, man, people have had it tough, man, and I hope it gets better sooner rather than later. But it looks like things are gonna drag on, man. But I just hope things somehow get better. But I'm not gonna look to politics or wait for politics to solve that. I guess it's probably just my algorithm showing me weird stuff. What I've been watching a lot lately are these near-death experiences. Always found it so interesting. I share it on my Patreon. Yeah, I always watch this sort of stuff on my Patreon. I share this with you guys. I haven't shared anything lately, but I will soon. And yeah, I've been listening to a lot of near-death experiences. It's always quite positive to listen to these people's stories. But as you can see, my content's not that great on YouTube, man. Because it's all these divisive issues. Body count matters. Loose women, angry men don't want to date them and prefer conservative women. There we go, something else politicized yet again. And that goes to show you this whole, not the loneliness epidemic, but the battle of the sexes. There's a lot of division between men and women these days. And you see it by a lot of these trends of these videos coming out, like Chinese men are awakening, avoiding spending money on women, leaving them anxious. Like these are the societal issues that are widespread societal issues that are taking place, because of what's happened in 2020. But as you've seen, this lady has quite a lot to say and actually shows you how everyone gets involved in these topics. And all these divisive issues, which are becoming more prevalent online. Quite divisive issues. And I don't know, guys. Just be careful with social media because it can paint a pretty warped perspective of reality and get in the way of you enjoying life for what it is. But yeah, as you see, China's got its problems, America's got its problems, the whole world's got its problems. And to be honest with you, it doesn't look like they're going to be solved anytime soon. So I just tend to not get too worked up about it and just go with the flow, and try to fill my mind with hope. So it's quite a political world we live in. Let's play some of this. It's quite a political world we live in. So sometimes you just want to relax, man. Take it easy. Don't get too worked up about what's happening here on Earth because it can have you busy for ages. Just unpacking the stuff in your mind. That's crazy. This is a kidnapping. Attempted kidnapping. This is what I mean, you know. We live in a pretty dark world. But you gotta try to focus on the good stuff, man. You know, you sometimes come onto
Ants versus humans.
because I feel like it's not so negative, I guess, sometimes.
Long walks in the dark through woods grown behind the park. I asked
Teacher use AI to show students their future selves based on their dreams.
God who I'm supposed to be. The stars smiled down at me. God answered in silent reverie. I said a prayer and fell asleep. I had a dream.
It's amazing what these computers can do, eh? It just simulates a picture of them being older.
I could fly from the highest tree. I had a dream.
Shame they get so excited. Don't get excited, don't, kids. Enjoy being children as long as you can. Enjoy being children. Please, kids. Don't grow up too soon. Don't grow up too soon, kids. You don't want to be an adult, trust me. Being an adult sucks. See what this guy's saying.
Between me and you guys, and that I love stand-up comedy. It's one of my favorite things in the world because stand-up comedy is one of the last true free open art forms. It really is. There's no censorship. There's nothing between me and you guys, and that doesn't mean we're always going to agree. That's not the way humans work. When was the last time you met a room full of strangers and you agreed on everything? That's not how we grow. That's not how we learn. But I believe as long as you don't say anything you don't believe or can't defend, you should be able to talk about anything, right? That's the way it works. That's the beauty of it. There's always going to be people who are uncomfortable, but eventually by the end of the night, everyone leaves with something that you own, and that's the great thing. But there are people who use stand-up comedy to spread ignorance to the ignorant, to spread hate to the hateful, to sell that, to make money off that. And that absolutely fucking disgusts me. And you don't even realize they're doing it. Like they hide, like they do it like puppet. Have you seen this terrorist fucking puppet? You can't just say racist shit through a puppet and then it's not racist shit, fucktard. Like, we know it's you saying it, right? Like, I know there's some guy in Alabama going, I don't know about the guy behind him, but I like what that puppet has to say. Shit. Fuck, I voted for a puppet for 8 years. I'd do it again. Like, I can't open and close the door of a microwave and say homophobic shit and be like, it ain't me, it's the homophobic microwave. Calm down, homophobic microwave. Why didn't you watch Two Men Lose? You need a hot dog in the back, you fucking faggot. Oh, homophobic microwave. What's next? The anti-Semitic blender? Jews! You can't do it. Stop it.
Yeah, you know what's funny? I don't find that much funny. I just don't find it that funny. But you know, the world we live in is pretty crazy, guys. It's got all these subcultures, all these random people, loneliness epidemics, financial crises, and social media and technology where it's at, you know. It's just a really weird world we live in, to be honest with you. Some people have been saying we live in quite a dystopian world already. Sometimes the world does seem kind of dystopian, but I don't know if that's just where I'm at and what I'm going through, but yeah. it seems like we do live in somewhat of a dystopian world reality. I don't know if you've been following that Luigi Marioni or whatever the guy's name is that's unalive that CEO. It's been heralded as a hero. It's just crazy reality we live in, man. I mean, the fact that you even get serial killers in this reality, they go around unaliving people and doing evil shit, dude. Like, people do some pretty evil shit out there. We don't generally tend to see it because it generally gets banned from this, thankfully. A lot of it's really awful and horrible. But yeah, man, I mean, doesn't look like there's anything good in Reddit. I usually just look at this one page called Public Freakouts. Like, it's interesting to see the troubles around the world, you know? Racism still existing, people fighting with each other. Like, some people just need to chill out, man. Especially people in charge of armies and war. They just need to learn how to take it easy. This is Welcome to Earth, guys. Very strange planet. Full of strange things. Strange people, strange events. Goddard Guardian said, just wait until they come out with AI like sex bots, which they're definitely going to do. So crazy this world is. I don't know if you saw that documentary with that lady who slept with 100 guys in one day, but that's becoming like mainstream accepted and popular, you know. Anyway, as I say, try not to look at all the bad stuff out there in reality, because you can develop quite a warped perspective. You want to be able to fill your mind up with good stuff, you know, stuff that empowers you, keeps you hopeful. Because to be honest with you, social media is quite trashy, dude. It's quite trashy, and if you get lost in this stuff, you can just paint a really horrible picture of the world, which I don't think is, like, in many cases truly representative of reality, you know. Kind of prevents us from being in the moment and just enjoying life for what it is. But yeah, it's Christmas, can you believe it? And 2025 is around the corner. I don't know who I still have me watching out. Hopefully I can have a live video with Secretary at some point. We can chat up, Storm. But yeah, I went through quite a couple of things in this video. It's almost hitting the 2-hour mark. That's how the world's changing, man. It's quite a bummer video, I'm not going to lie to you, because it's focusing on some pretty nuanced negative stuff. But yeah, that's just generally what I've been noticing. And I guess everyone's feeling it. It kind of seems like everyone's feeling it. Feeling like they're having to get through this stuff, you know, with this weird social media warped ass world in reality, man. Like, we're just being entertained until we die. Just being fed content, massive amounts of content through these platforms. And a lot of this content is pretty crazy stuff, so you can imagine how it affects people's minds, depending on how worked up they get up about certain things. But it's just weird. I feel like most people don't focus on what's really important. Focusing on so many things at once, but so little of it seems to actually be really important and hold any true significance towards our lives and being able to help make our lives better, you know? A lot of it's very negative. And but it is good, I guess, to keep tabs of the world, keep tabs of how things change. Someone just sent me I don't know what that is. That's very weird. sort of random message from someone. But keep close to your family. Family life is really important, and it's probably one of the things that are few things that are that important in our life, because these are the people we live with and get along with, and our family. Family is really important. I always keep saying that, and I'll keep saying it. It's best to make most of people while they're still alive. And unfortunately, we lose people. That's a hard thing I've been struggling with lately, is wrapping my head around that reality of, one day losing my loved ones, and one day myself actually having to die. Which sometimes I just really hope for a life after this. I want to make the most of my life now, but I also want to, I don't want to stop existing. But so much it be, it is what it is. Things are going to happen however they're going to happen. I've generally started to believe a lot more in the reality of life after death, and been looking at it from a perspective of still having to make the most of my life now while I'm still alive, And when you grow older, you kind of realize that old saying that life's short. The older you get, the shorter life seems. It's kind of weird that it works that way. But it's interesting, as you grow older, you have to deal with these realities, and it's quite a psychological hurdle. To be honest with you, it can be. The reality of reality itself, and the reality of one day dying and losing your loved ones. It's quite a hard pill to swallow. But you can accept it, and you can live with it, and you can let it help you make the most of your life and the time you have left here with your loved ones, which is really important. I mean, if we've learned anything after 2020 and everything that's happened, it's that you can't replace family, and to make the most of our lives in the best ways that we can, if we can, I think we owe it to ourselves to just try, put ourselves out there and live as best lives as we can, and hopefully try to help people along that process of living life. I'm only 33 years old now, but I just feel like I'm getting old. Like, I don't know, I've just been through a whole lot of stuff. And it's a lot of stuff to get through, a lot of psychological hurdles, man, having to pick yourself up from the ground and going through these existential crises and dealing with these big, deep issues in your mind, and overcoming them, coming to terms with them. It's quite a hurdle, and I think not a lot of people speak about that, but it's something we all face, these prospects of life, death, family, existence, meaning, purpose. These are all things that we face here on earth. So, I can't help but think about these things. Sometimes it makes me a bit sad, to be honest with you, but you always got to put a positive spin on everything going through your mind. You're always going to find a way to reconcile the things that may be causing you trouble in your imagination or in your mind. With good reason to believe good things as opposed to bad things, Because if we just believe a whole lot of bad things, it's so easy for us to lose hope. And if you lose hope in life, it's like you're losing, losing energy for your ability to live here on earth. So I've waffled on for quite a long time in this video, going through a whole bunch of stuff. It's been a bit difficult for me to think straight lately. My mind's been going through a bit of these hurdles, as I've just explained to you now. I'm just reconciling myself, my position, my future, these existential ideas. And it's been getting to me, It's been affecting my happiness, my joy. I want to live more life, but I'm just stuck in a position now where I have to keep working and working and working. So it's a lot of stuff to go through, and I can imagine that people go through their own stuff like this. And it's good because you have your bad days and your good days, but I guess you overcome those bad days and you just learn to stay more positive and grateful and happy and hopeful and optimistic. And it's generally a good idea to put a positive spin on things. Try to see the best in things, because if you don't, it's so easy to give up that hope. So being a human is quite complicated. We're emotional beings, emotional, psychological beings. And that means a lot because we go through a lot of stuff internally and externally. It changes us, changes the way we are, changes how we think, how we experience and live life, sometimes for better, sometimes for worse. But we're complicated beings, we're complicated psychological, emotional states. And sometimes there can be a fine line to balance on. It can be quite tricky. But it's best to just try to see the best in everything. As hard as that may seem sometimes. You got it, man. Because if you focus on the wrong stuff, it can get you down pretty quickly. So yeah, I'm sorry if I haven't really been myself lately. I've just been going through a lot of stuff mentally, and it's made it a bit difficult to actually. It's also like, what do I speak about? What do I talk about? I just talk about whatever is in my mind or interests me at a certain moment in time. But sometimes, that's pretty difficult because my mind's been pretty clouded lately. But as I said, I just generally tend to keep track of people's minds, listening to people's stories. And as I said, I've been very curious about death lately. So watching a lot of those NDEs, and a lot of them have given me a lot of hope. But I'm fearing that I'm starting to sound quite repetitive, man. It's like, how many things can you focus on? How many things can you keep track of and talk about constantly? Finding new stuff to talk about constantly is really difficult. And especially when it's not like super passionate stuff that involves getting people together, doing amazing stuff. And that's why I'm working on this project that I'm working on now. This application, so that I can get to that space again of working with people, of doing stuff that matters and is important and inspires me to keep going. It's like when your life becomes too repetitive, it can kill your motivation, inspiration. So I guess you got to try switch it up or swap it up. But all I'm saying is, I feel like everyone's been going through a depression lately on some level or another. I just don't think that people are that vocal about it. But times are tough. And I think times are tough for a lot of people. And you got to respect that. And I guess be positive enough to get on the other side of that and to be able to get through that, There's so much life to be lived out there. So I guess my dream is to just try to be able to live that life, to be able to get out there in the world and make something of myself. Anyway, that's the end of this video. It's going on for 2 hours now. My brain's pretty tired. For everyone who's been supporting me on Patreon, I really do appreciate that. It's been helping me like you cannot believe, like you cannot imagine. It's been actually been giving me the space to work and contribute in my own way. I really appreciate everyone's help and love and support. Secretary, if you're watching, it'll be good to be able to speak to you soon. Maybe a video later this week or next week. But thanks, guys. Keep well. Sending you lots of love. And that's just some stuff from me. I'm going to be trying to find some cool things to post on Patreon. And then hopefully by the time I make another live video, I have a lot more interesting stuff to speak about. And hopefully people actually being entertained by it, not bored to death, which is what I fear and can't help but fear. But yeah, thanks, guys. I really do appreciate all your time. Sending you lots of love and keep on. And Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's.